A former member of the pop group Danity Kane returned to the witness stand Monday in Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial on Monday. And a warning to viewers, some may find the details in this report disturbing. Singer Dawn Richard told jurors she witnessed Combs allegedly beating his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura on multiple occasions. Richard also says she told Ventura she should leave him, but did not intervene in their relationship because she says she was told not to. Ventura's ex-friend and Combs' former personal assistant also testified Monday. Sean Diddy Combs has pleaded not guilty to several charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison. For more, let's bring in CBS News national correspondent Jericka Duncan, who's been following the case for us in court. So, Jericka, today Combs' defense attorney really honed in on Richard's timeline. Why is that?
Absolutely, because it comes down to trying to discredit this witness. If the jurors have any questions about is she believable, isn't she, that speaks to when they get into that room and decide whether or not to convict, all of those things add up, but it really comes to trying to discredit the witnesses for the prosecution. So that timeline you're talking about specifically, they asked her about, are you sure you saw Combs actually throw a frying pan at Ventura, or was it, you said in one interview, he attempted to? Then there was a moment where the defense asked her about a comment she said Combs made to her, that if she were to open her mouth about the abuse, something would happen to her. And the prosecution asked Dawn Richard, what do you think that meant? And she said that it meant, you know, he's threatening my life. So the defense said, well, if he's threatening your life and you're so afraid of him and you're so intimidated by him, why then in 2020 and 2021 did you reach out to him to work with him again on a project? So that's where it gets a little dicey. But I spoke to Dawn Richard's attorneys, one of her attorneys after she took the stand. And he basically said, listen, I've done a lot of these cases. When you're talking about abuse, you're talking about intimidation, it's not that crazy that someone would then come back. But why? Because you still are a very powerful producer, rapper, mogul that has influence on her career. So that's sort of how they got around that. Now, the jurors didn't hear that interview. The jurors didn't hear that from her attorney. But all in all, she really did stay consistent with this message, though, of Combs being violent and abusive, and her seeing that, according to her testimony.
Do you expect potentially the prosecution to bring that up with Richard, that, hey, it's not always black and white in front of jurors?
Absolutely, and we have yet to hear from any experts. You know, we've heard from 7 witnesses now. We're expected to hear from Ventura's mother later this week. But this is 6 to 8 weeks, and we're only in week 2. So there will be a lot more people that will testify and sort of build this case that the prosecution says, you know, does have to do with Combs creating this criminal enterprise. And it will be a lot of back and forth. One thing that was interesting, Lindsay, is for the first time I saw the jurors writing a lot more during that cross-examination. And I've described it on TikTok as being sort of like watching a tennis match, because the jurors would look at the defense, you know, back to the witness, because it was such rapid fire in terms of her questioning about that timeline that you spoke of.
What else can we expect this week?
So, again, we're going to hear from Cassie Ventura's mother, Regina Ventura, some other people that were close associates with Combs, as well as people that knew Ventura. But today it was Dawn Richard, Carrie Morgan, which is a former best friend of Cassie Ventura, who talked about seeing abuse. And then there was a David James, who used to be a personal assistant to Combs, who really broke down early on in his testimony, talking about some of the abuse that he said he saw. And interestingly enough, I wasn't in the courtroom at that particular moment, but it was reported that he sort of nodded at Combs, and Combs nodded back at him. We're not sure what that was about, but I think it is an emotional time for anybody who had a personal relationship with the people that are being discussed throughout this trial.
Interesting. Jericka Duncan, thank you.
Thank you.